It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life brings you interviews with some of the most inspirational and influential people in the world. It's our goal to educate and empower you so you can live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We have another great show for you today. We all want to live a longer, healthier, happier life, but what contributes to achieving that goal? According to today's guest, Dr. Mario Martinez, the mind and the body are not two separate entities, but are one indivisible whole. He's here today to explain how the mind-body connection affects every aspect of our lives, from disease to the way we think about aging, relationships, and self-esteem. Dr. Martinez is a licensed clinical psychologist, a pioneer in biocognitive science, and the best-selling author of The Mind-Body Code: How to Change the Beliefs That Limit Your Health, Longevity, and Success. His new book is Mind, Body, Self: How Longevity is Culturally Learned and the Causes of Health Are Inherited. Welcome, Dr. Martinez. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So, Doctor, let's begin with what you believe the mind-body connection to be and how that impacts our life.
We know pretty much that the mind and the body interact with each other, and that many people believe that it's inseparable, and there's quite a bit of science behind that. But there's another component, and that other component is culture. We're not mind-body in a vacuum. We're mind-body in a culture, and the culture beliefs are really what shape the mind-body communication.
Doctor, your work comprises something called biosymbolic language. What is this?
What biosymbols mean is that if you say, for example, how can a thought, how can a symbol affect your biology? Well, it's very hard to believe it that way. We're born with a predisposition to pay attention to people that are important in our preservation, the breast, the bottle, and we're predisposed for that because it's really the only way that we can survive as infants. So what happens is those people become what I call cultural editors. So when you're hungry, you have a certain biology going on. When you have the breast or the bottle, you have a certain biology going on. So that breast or that bottle become a symbol with biology, and it becomes a biosymbol. Later, when you have language, you'll see that it's mother, bottle, but that biosymbol is already biologically registered, and you respond to it. So you go on with life, and you have other cultural editors, like, for example, the cultural editors are people that the culture gives them power in a particular context, like a teacher in school, clergy in church, doctor in hospital, parents at home, and so forth. So then what happens is that your biology, especially your immune system, responds to symbols as if they were some biological processes, because you've already learned that symbols are not just symbols, they have a biological component, the way you respond. So, for example, very specific, we know that when a person is shamed, when someone shames you and says something negative to you and you feel ashamed, you're going to have inflammation. You're going to have molecules of inflammation, interleukins and tumor necrosis factor and other kinds of molecules that actually cause inflammation. So how can that happen? Inflammation is needed when there's an infection. Yet when someone says a word, you have inflammation. Why? Because we're biosymbolically set from day one.
How does one then go about interpreting this language? Is it possible for us to do?
Yes, in the first book, the Mind-Body Code, I talked about there is a code in how the mind and the body communicate with each other. In the second book, how the mind and the body communicate with each other within a cultural context. So, for example, the code is that anything that you repeat, the brain will consider to be important because it considers to be, if this is being repeated, then it has a value for preservation, for adaptation. Anything that you repeat, then the cognition, your thoughts, will interpret it in a way that it must be important, and it begins to rationalize it. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you have learned to view the world as something dangerous, and you repeat it. The world is dangerous. The world is dangerous by the way that you see things, by what you were taught in your family, and so forth. Then what your cognition, what your thoughts will do is will try to rationalize it and confirm it. So you go to a place, and where somebody might see, oh, what a beautiful forest, you'll see it as danger, and then the interpretation is, look at how dangerous it is because there's a rock there that's very sharp and I could fall and hurt myself. So you see, you begin to confirm what you're interpreting of the world. The world is waiting to co-author whatever you want, but whatever you interpret, then you interpret it that way. What does it do to your biology? If you're seeing a world of danger, you're going to be secreting cortisol and epinephrine and norepinephrine and other stress hormones that actually suppress immune function. So you're not going to be as healthy as someone who has a different view of the world, who has for example, centenarians that I interview all over the world, people that were not only over 100, but healthy over 100. They have a sense of novelty about the world, which is one of the causes of health, novelty. To see newness in the world, that completely changes your biosymbolic system.
So, Doctor, when we're talking about a culturally ingrained thought, I mean, this is deeply rooted programming. So how do we go about then undoing it once we recognize that what we're thinking, it's harming us in some way?
Well, that's a great question. And the answer is that it's not intellectual. You can't reason it out. So let me give you a specific example. There's some that you see the cultural component. Some countries, for example, in Bolivia and other places in South America, when a woman is having the hot flashes of menopause, they call it bochorno, which means shame in Spanish. Now we know that, as I mentioned earlier, shame causes inflammation. So these women will have more inflammation, lower self-esteem, more need for hormone replacement than women in Japan that call it konenki, which means, again, cultural, it means the second spring, where a woman goes into her own strength, her own wisdom, her self-esteem goes up, the inflammation is not there, and that is a cultural cause. How do you change that? You begin to look for subcultures, what I call subcultures of wellness, of women that don't buy into that culture component. And when you say, I'm having the hot flashes, I'm having shame, no, you're not having shame. This is what you're doing. And let's create a world, not intellectual, but a world that we begin to believe and act in a way that's different in the culture. Then gradually, and with other techniques, of course, I don't want to oversimplify it, then you gradually begin to change your biology into something that is an outlier, someone outside of the culture, beyond the pale. You know that beyond the pale has a negative connotation, and it's not. Beyond the pale means that you go outside of your culture, outside of your tribe, but the tribe will punish you when you get out because you're no longer serving the collective needs of the tribe. Look at, by the way, middle age is just a portal, what I call culture portals. We have portals that the culture dictates. They're not biological. You have a portal of infancy, the child, the adolescent, the young adult, and especially middle age, and then retirement, and of course, then the seniors. All of that is culturally imposed. Why? For example, if you're in Turkey, you can retire at 45. If you're in Australia, you have to wait till 70. So you see, it's a culturally imposed, but here's the danger, that if, for example, your culture says that middle age starts at 45, there's a collective belief and a collective influence that you have to act 45, you have to look 45, you even have to get sick like you're middle age. And unless you learn to come out of those portals, you will acquiesce to whatever portal you're in, and especially in the senior portal. Well, you say, for example, and here's how the within the pale holds you back. You're a senior, you're 80, and you say, I want to go back to school and finish my bachelor's degree. Are you crazy? Enjoy your retirement. Don't do anything. Just enjoy, watch the sunset. You're too old to go back to school, and that kills the cause of health, which is at any age I can do anything. Example, I interviewed a 101-year-old man, and I asked him, how? I said, you had a vegetable garden. How's your garden? He said, oh, it looks great. Wait till you see it in 4 years. A 101-year-old man.
Right.
So they have a future with positive beliefs, but at present that is full of wonder and it's full of novelty.
So to answer the question that I asked in the introduction, how do we go about achieving that goal, living a longer, healthier, happier life? It basically boils down to the fact that we believe we can.
And I think the subtitle of the book says it all. It's how longevity is culturally learned and the causes of health are inherited. This throws conventional medicine upside down with good science, not just something that I invented. So what happens first is to understand. I'll give you an example of family so-called family illnesses. Let's say that your family has a family illness of diabetes. Well, that doesn't mean that it's a genetic sentence.
Mm-hmm.
It means that it's a predisposition that you have. So what do? You begin to look for the outliers. Always look for the outliers. Who in your family does not have diabetes and didn't fall into that genetic sentencing, and how are they different than the rest of the family? And conventional science will say, well, the father has diabetes or the son has diabetes. Well, they have a propensity, but they also eat the same food, they think the same way, they live in the same place. So they're sharing a collective process that contributes to the diabetes. So that's one of the ways to do it. And then, but you have to embody it. For example, your uncle doesn't have diabetes, and your uncle is the type of person that is a lot more positive than the rest of your family. And he says, I'm not going to have diabetes, but he follows up. It's not just up in your head. He eats well. He has a different way of looking at the world. So you begin to imitate that behavior till you begin to actually feel that behavior. You embody that behavior. And then what happens is your default mode, at the part of the brain that actually has the neural maps that has the propensity to look at the world, they begin to change. Gradually, they begin to change. But be aware that the culture, you have to fight the culture, because you'll say, well, I'm not going to have diabetes. I'm moving out. Well, remember, your dad has it. You have to take care of yourself this way and that way. Mm-hmm. So they're constantly putting you into the portals and constantly putting you into that genetic sentencing that is not good science. It's a predisposition that is seen as a sentence.
The book is Mind, Body, Self, How Longevity is Culturally Learned and the Causes of Health Are Inherited. If you would like to learn more information about this topic, the book, or Dr. Martinez, you can visit his website, biocognitive.com. Doctor, in our final moments, what is the takeaway? What do you want to leave our listeners with?
The importance of a culture. And what is a culture? A culture is a collective belief about important things in life, like aesthetics, wellness, ethics, your religion, and those things are imposed by the group, and they're given a biology, and you buy into the biology. So what I want to leave your audience with is that you have to become an outlier. You have to become a rebel and learn that longevity is culturally learned, not inherited. It's not a sentencing. So basically, the idea is that you can be whatever you want, but you have to live it. You can't just think it and have wishful thinking, because it doesn't work that way.
Dr. Martinez, thank you so much for being here. It is such a pleasure to have you join us and share this life-changing information.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back. Hi, this is Joan Herman, host of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Did you know that Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life has a free monthly digital magazine that can be read online or emailed to your inbox? Every month, nationally recognized leaders in their field provide information to educate, inspire, and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. Check out a copy of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life 24/7. Visit cyacyl.com and be sure to tell your friends. Thank you for joining us. I hope you found the show informative. At Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, we believe that knowledge is power. Take what you've learned, apply it, and live your best life now. Remember that the information provided are the opinions of our guests and should never replace the advice of a professional who knows your personal situation. If you'd like more information, visit our website, cyacyl.com. While on the site, listen to past shows on demand, read our digital magazine, take part in the book club, check out our team, and be sure to follow the show on social media. Until next time, this is Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.